Hi, I'm Matty Smith and I'm going to give you my 3 top tips to help improve your underwater photography without spending a single dollar. So my first tip is quite an obvious one. It's subject selection, whether that be a shark, whether that be a cuttlefish, whether that be a turtle, whether it be a nudibranch. It's important to have a positive focus on what you want to find when you get into the water. So tell your dive buddy or tell other people in the group what you want to look for. More sets of eyes, the better, and that will help you focus on the shot you're trying to take. Once you've decided on the subject, it's always quite a good idea to repeat dive the same site many times. This way you can get sort of wired into what's down there and where to find the subject you're looking for. Whether that's your local dive site from home or the house reef in front of a dive resort. The more times you can dive the same site, the easier it is to find your target subject and get a great shot. Top tip number 2. Separate your subject from its background. Once you've decided what you want to shoot, you need to look at the background behind the subject, because this is as important as the subject itself. Put yourself into a position where you minimise distraction in the background. Look for other divers' fins that might be poking into your shot, maybe pieces of bright coral that are distracting in the background. Out of focus highlights can move the eye away from the subject we're trying to get the viewer to look at. On your screen now there's a photograph of a nudibranch. Just take a moment to look at it. Is it a good shot? No, it's not. Why is it not a good shot? It's not a good shot because I've made the first mistake that most people make when they get into underwater photography. I've seen the subject I wanted to shoot and I've got excited and I've swum over to it and I've just shot it straight from above. Looking straight down on the subject is a very, very bad angle. We don't separate it from its surroundings and it's a boring photo to look at. Now look at the next photograph of the nudibranch on the screen. This one's a little bit better. Why is it better? It's better because I've taken a lower angle. I've got down on the eye level of the subject, so we've got a stronger connection, and I've freed up a little bit of the background. I've put the background out of focus, which gives us a better outline of the creature we're trying to photograph. Now look at this third photograph of a nudibranch. Why is this one better still? Because I've found this one in a really good position where there's very little background distraction at all. Using a low angle and getting in close, I've made a much stronger photograph. As well as using a low angle to separate the subject, what we can also do is we can shoot with a wider aperture. So a lot of macro photographers particularly will default to f/22 or f/29 to get a very sharp picture from front to back. By opening up the aperture to maybe f8 or f5.6, we can render the background even more blurry, make the background even more out of focus, which makes the foreground or the subject that we're photographing appear even sharper, and that makes the picture really, really pop. Another example of using separation to separate the subject from the background, this time using a wide angle lens. You can see an Australian giant cuttlefish that I've photographed here. Again, I've done the first mistake that a lot of people do, and that's shoot from directly above. The photograph you're looking at now on the screen was the very same cuttlefish in the very same spot, taken not 15 seconds later. All I've done is move my camera and my body position to separate the subject from its background, and it makes a photograph with a lot more impact. So my third and final tip for improving your underwater photography is get close to the animal. Get close, but don't be obtrusive. Being obtrusive will scare and turn the animal. So to get close to an animal, rather than swim towards it, I like to wait for that animal to come towards me. I was doing an underwater photography group tutorial session a few weeks back in my local dive site, where we've got a number of grey nurse sharks at the moment swimming around. Now, grey nurse sharks are notoriously shy. They're quite large sharks, but they don't like divers. So before I got in the water, I asked all the divers to get close to the dive site where the sharks are, spot the sharks, but don't swim straight up to them. Wait for the sharks to come to them. And the students took this on board and it worked really well. So what we did is we hid behind there's a lot of kelp and boulders. So we watched the sharks and saw the route that they were repeatedly taking. And then we slowly eased ourselves towards the sharks using the boulders and the kelp and some pier legs that were there to conceal our presence. Edging towards the sharks more slowly and using the natural geometry to conceal our presence, we ended up getting very, very close, and the sharks became very comfortable with our presence, enabling everybody to get good shots. So it's very important to take your time and don't rush. It's not a race to get the best photo, and getting close is quite easy if you stay calm and you take your time and you relax. And for this reason, it's better when you're shooting large and shy subjects that you want to get close to try and dive in small groups as well. Just you and your buddy is ideal. At the end of the day, you want to take a photograph like this, not like this. I hope you found those 3 tips educational and you've learned something from that. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. Below you might have some extra tips you'd like to share with people of free ways of improving your underwater photography.